Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Davie County's COVID-19 update for our community. We continue to provide this information to all of you on a weekly basis to try to be a source of good information for you. We'll provide a link at the end of this conversation so citizens can know how to get questions to us. We'll be looking at themes that we receive each week and try to address those as we go throughout our conversation today. We have a great lineup for you. I will introduce our speakers one by one as we get to them, but we'll have our Emergency Operations Center folks give an update since our last episode, but then also some special guests with us today. Those guests will talk about workforce development related issues and also resources for our employers and individuals that are impacted by COVID-19 right now. And so we have a great lineup for you, and we'll get started here in a moment. But we hope you find this a valuable platform. On behalf of the county commissioners here in Davie County and our assistant manager and CFO, Robin West, we would all like to thank all of you for joining us today. And we're going to go ahead and transition into our first speaker today, which is Ms. Suzanne Wright, Director of our Health and Human Services Department. Suzanne?
Thank you, Mr. Eller. I have a brief update today. Davie County Health and Human Services received notification of another lab-confirmed case of COVID-19 this morning, April 15th, bringing our case count to 23. The individual is in their 40s. Over the weekend, I shared a press release from Bermuda Commons Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitation Center announcing that one of its residents tested positive for COVID-19. Bermuda Commons and all other long-term care and assisted living facilities in our county implemented strict control measures prior to receiving state guidance. These facilities have residents requiring emergency medical attention, hospitalization, and therapy services from outside providers. When someone leaves the facility, the potential for exposure exists. When someone returns to the facility, the potential for exposure exists. Visitor restriction is still in place. Screening for sickness is still in place. Quarantine for new and returning residents is still in place, but the potential for exposure remains. Please know that these facilities are working hard and against odds to protect the health of each resident. And we appreciate everything that they're doing right now. And finally, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has now asked local health departments to shift focus and begin collection for laboratory testing to identify and track COVID-19 cases in the community. And per their guidance, emphasis will be placed on priority populations, which include healthcare workers, first responders, persons in high-risk congregate settings, and persons at a higher risk for severe illness that are symptomatic. And so those symptomatic individuals in the categories mentioned will be tested at no charge through the state lab. Those who have a private physician or alternate health care should seek services and testing through their facilities. So that's my update for today, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wright. We appreciate all the work that you and your staff continue to do throughout this crisis. We know there's been a lot of long days and sleepless nights, and we'll continue to support you any way we can. So thanks for your work there. Now we'll transition into our next speaker of today, and that is our Chamber of Commerce here in Davie County, who are trying to do the best they can here, working with our businesses during the challenging times we have here. So I'm going to turn that conversation now over to Ms. Carolyn Moser. Caroline, do you want to give us a quick update on what's happening now as it relates to your work with businesses?
Hey, John, thank you so much for putting us on. So we are, devastated what's going on with our community. And our mission has always been to serve our members through leadership, advocacy, education, and partnership, and fostering a thriving economic climate throughout Davie County. And just because this pandemic has hit our doorstep, there's no different. We are just looking at things a little bit different in how we navigate and help our businesses. So a couple of things that we have done is provide a couple of resources. One, I encourage the business community to visit our website, daviechamber.com. There is a COVID-19 Business Toolkit that is listed on there. You click on the slider. You can access a lot of information easily. We keep it up to date. You can find small business resources. It links to the NC Chamber, CDC, county, also executive orders. So I encourage everyone to take a look at that. Also encourage everyone to look at all the different loans that are available. We get a lot of phone calls right now. Should I apply for it? Should I not? And my answer is always, if you're looking at the Paycheck Protection Program, make sure you call the bank and find out if you're eligible and what that looks like. And as far as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, reach out to the SBA. Also, we are hosting weekly webinars that are available to all of our business community, whether you're members or not. One of the ones that we have started is called Plan, Pivot, and Prosper. Again, this is free. You do have to register. It's through Action Coach, and we decided to put this on because it's given our business owners resources for the here and now. It's 30 minutes out of your day every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And also I encourage everyone to look at DCCC Small Business Center. We've done a lot of partnerships with them. We've put out webinars that people can look at on our business toolkit, but they're free classes to help everyone navigate through this. You do have to register with those classes, and they have to have at least 3 people sign up before they can make them live. So again, we're just working really hard to try to push out information and support our business community. And the last thing I want to talk about is shopping local. More important than ever is to support our local business community. On our website, we have listed a restaurant retail page. At the very top, you can click on and see what businesses are doing. And so when you're looking to go to eat, when you're looking to shop, please think about our business community because they need you. So that's all I have for today. And if anyone has any suggestions, comments, or concerns on how we can do a better job or things that ways we can look outside the box, please feel free to contact me. And thank you, John, for putting this on.
Caroline, thank you for all that you and the Chamber are doing for your members right now. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll transition into our next presenter today, which is Carolyn McManamy. Carolyn's going to talk to us a little about some workforce development items. So Carolyn, thanks for being here.
Thanks, John. The focus that I guess I would want to update our residents and employers with is that there are a lot of resources out there, many of which are on the Chamber site, but also the need for folks to file for unemployment individually or our businesses that are trying to do it on behalf of all of their employees, especially if they're doing a reduced shift or a complete layoff. And so, I've got a couple of slides that are giving information for individuals. I know that they've experienced tremendous difficulties with the website and the phone. They're working tirelessly to try and expand their capabilities so that they can be more responsive to individuals filing for claims. To me, a good focus would be the additional support you can get from our NC Works career centers. Obviously, like so many other places, they are actually closed, but they're there for phone assistance. And I do have the phone number listed that is assigned to Davie County. And folks that contact an NC Works staff through that number will not only get questions answered, but they'll get assistance with actually filing for unemployment. And this will be a tremendous resource for some of our residents that maybe don't have access to computers or that are experiencing frustration with the delays they're experiencing on the website. The NC Work centers can help you. That staff can help a lot with getting that process done. The next slide I provided is again, it's some information for our employers, and a lot of it is driven not only through the state, but also with the PTRC, which is the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. and they have a tremendous amount of resources for our employers on their website, and can assist them in any of the things that they're encountering, again, whether it's reducing shifts or layoffs or that type of thing. And I did include the 2 contact names that I would encourage our employers to call directly. What I've been doing a lot so far is working individually with our employers as they have questions come up, that type of thing. They have contacted me, and the folks over at the PTRC have been phenomenal with working directly with them and helping folks navigate through the different websites and processes to get things squared away for their workforce. And the last thing that I would, well, second to last thing I would like to do is let folks know about an upcoming event we have for Davie County employers. Next Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to be hosting a Q&A session with representatives from the PTRC Workforce Development Board. We're going to have registration information sent out later today or tomorrow, and folks can participate in this phone call and get answers to questions. So we'll have an opportunity with the registration for our employers to submit questions that they're looking to get answers to, and those will be the priority. And then if there's time at the end of the call, they'll take direct questions during that session. So we're going to try and incorporate this kind of a format moving ahead to see, you know, as things change, which this is a very fluid event, obviously, and it's changing almost daily, that we can set up these calls on a fairly regular basis to be a way to share information, not just with one employer, but all of our employers. And then the last thing I would like to share with everyone today is to remind Davie County residents and employers that we have davieworks.com, and that is our, really it's an employment portal. It's an opportunity for folks looking for jobs to find them. And we do, believe it or not, have employers that are trying to hire right now. So folks can find a job, and then we have a place in there for posting a job that are only jobs available in Davie County. And so I would encourage our employers to post those jobs and get them out there. We will get them live within a very short period of time, usually just a couple of hours, and get that out there. And so this can be a very focused resource for our employers and residents during these difficult times. So, obviously my information is at the beginning of the slides that I had. So if anybody has any questions or needs some direction on things, they're welcome to contact me via email or phone numbers. So thank you.
Carolyn, thanks so much. We appreciate all your effort there. A lot of good information for those trying to seek employment during this time, and thank you for that. And now we'll transition over to our economic development folks. Mr. Terry Brawley is here with us. Terry, thanks for joining us. We'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, there's nothing like an event like this. It moves everybody, including our government, back to our basic operation, which is health, safety, and welfare. We've tried to be a conduit for all of our existing industry. I'm probably, if you're on my email chain, you're getting 2 and 3 and maybe 4 emails a day from me, and reaching probably 75 to 85% of our workforce out there daily. Talking with plant managers about best practices, who's working, who's not, how are they remaining safe in the workplace. Most of them have moved to temperatures as they come in, taking employees' temperatures, face mask if they are within 6 feet of each other in the working environment. They have split their shifts up to A and B teams. Some are working this week. The other team is working the next week, taking unemployment in the week before, hoping if somebody gets sick that they don't get the whole workforce sick. A lot of information on essential business status. How do you go about arriving at that? A lot of our industry was really left out of that email chain early on, but we've got them back on board. Julia Howard has allowed me access to the state meetings that they've held twice and 3 times a week. So we're on the cutting edge of what's going on with unemployment, with the federal law and all the stuff coming out. And folks, they're still trying to figure it out too. We've also been able to network with our existing industry. We have 2 companies that are now making face masks. We have one company that's supplying the material. We have another company that can do hand sanitizers. So if anybody needs any of the above, let me know. And like I say, we're emailing these folks and trying to establish and let people know what is the best practices that are out there. But thank you, John, for what you're doing, and I'll let the next person speak.
Thank you, Mr. Brawley. Appreciate all you're doing to help support our industries and continue to get the word out and for just making good contacts with some of these distributors and supply chains are really important right now for our industries that remain. So thank you for that. Sheriff Hartman, we'll transition over to you and let us know any updates you have today.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say the Sheriff's Office is continuing to support all the entities in the county. We're still fully staffed and answering calls. We have delivered over 2,200 meals since March 16th for the seniors in the county. We've provided an officer at every school with the school system, working with the school system for meal deliveries, etc. But I really wanted to take just a minute and remind everybody to be careful about fraud. We're starting to see an uptick in fraud. We've had several instances where people have come to homes and offered to sanitize homes or clean and sanitize your cars. Be very careful letting people in your homes to do this type of stuff. It's already the season where we typically have some fraud that travels through the county and they try to do things in your homes. The COVID issues are causing additional fraud to happen. So just be careful with that. In addition, we've seen some telephone fraud. We have some of that in general, but remember, courts are delayed and they are using that to call people and say there's warrants for them, etc. And that if they will pay money, the warrants will go away. The sheriff's office will never call you and tell you there's a warrant for your arrest, and if you pay us money, we won't come serve it. If there's a warrant for your arrest, we're going to come see you, not call you on the telephone. There's also some telephone and internet fraud going on where they're offering fake COVID tests. If you want to have yourself tested, I suggest you talk to the health department or your doctor about being tested and what the proper ways are to do that, not do it off the internet or through the telephone. And of course, the general internet and email scams that are continuing, especially emails from supposedly other countries saying they have money that they need to get out of the country because of problems in that country. Those will be fake. Never, ever sign on to help people get money out of another country. They're trying to get your money, not give you money. And that's really all I have today. But I appreciate everybody doing this and being on the phone today.
Sheriff, thanks. And we know how important it is for community policing in general and how your deputies are out in their districts or assigned areas. And what better way than to really be present in those communities than helping our senior center deliver meals to those who are shut-ins right now and who rely on those meals and the families impacted by that as well. So thanks to all your deputies and you for doing what you do. Mr. Byrd, we'll transition over to you now in our Emergency Services Department.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. Good afternoon. Here at Emergency Services, we're continuing to go through the process of procuring PPE for all our county responders and for our health department. We received 4 deliveries from the National Guard this week. Personally, I look forward to having the supply chain fully restored in the future so that this is not so labor intensive. Over the weekend, we were able to get a good supply of these COVID-19 test kits in. They were picked up at the state lab in Raleigh by the EOC staff, and we've had those delivered to our health department. We've kept our fire marshal's office busy this week, delivering PPE and cleaning supplies to all our fire and rescue departments. They visited all 16 departments in the last 2 days. The EOC continues to be staffed. We're down to staffing normal business hours during the week, after hours and on the weekends, I've got a duty officer who's on call to take care of emergencies. The EOC staff has been busy keeping up with the multiple changes that come to us weekly. Those are changes that reference changing guidelines for emergency responses, changes for medical facility recommendations, homeless sheltering, surge capacities at the hospitals, and we also have to work to stay informed about the executive orders and how they're changing. As we knew would happen, COVID-19 is not the only thing out there. The emergencies that came up over the weekend, Sunday night into Monday morning related to our storms, gave our fire departments a real workout. Hats off to these guys. Some of them were on the scene by 3 a.m. that morning, and they were still working some of those scenes at noontime the next day. Had a lot of trees down, power lines down, a lot of work to be done. I just appreciate, and we appreciate the job that all these guys do for our community. I also want to thank again, I put this thank you out there last week, but it continues to be valid for us. We've got citizens and businesses that are reaching out and going an extra mile to support us every day. We received a lot of masks that were sewn by our citizens. We have businesses that have retooled and are sending out masks and gowns and things like that to us. But beyond that, our emergency responders across the county are being treated really well. Some of them have been surprised with meals, or they've been called by local restaurants and said, hey, all your guys come up here and eat at some point today. Somebody's already paid it forward. They want to take care of emergency services. We've had church groups come by, drop off pizzas. So just personally, I'd like to really thank everybody in the community that reaches out to all our emergency responders. It means a lot to them. These guys work long hours, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Eller.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. I appreciate all those updates, and we do appreciate what your EMS crews and your fire marshal's office, all the chiefs out there and our fire departments, and as you said, all the citizens around all of our first responders. We just can't thank them enough for what they do. We'll transition now to our 911 Communications Center update, Mr. Rodney Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. I don't have any significant updates from our last discussion last week. I just want to reiterate the numbers. Just please, we're asking if you have generalized questions, do not call 911. 911 is utilized for emergencies only. For this particular COVID questions, again, contact the Davie County Health Department Health Hotline at 336-753-6750, and also the North Carolina State Helpline at 919-814-2000, or the 800 number that's displayed. Just to reiterate some points that's already been touched on in the past, we are asking screening questions with calls. Some of these questions will be simply, do you or the patient have a fever or cough or respiratory illness? With that being said, please be patient with these questions. We're asking citizens when they call. These questions are geared towards not only assisting us in triaging, but helping the responders get a heads up on the information that's provided so they can implement faster and better quality treatment when they get the information passed on to them. So we're just asking, please be patient with our questioning. These are something that we have to do to kind of make sure the quality of care is at its highest. We appreciate the citizens, abiding by the rules, and just staff is hands-on. This is a special week for us. It's National Telecommunicators Week. So that's a special shout out just to the 911 dispatchers and themselves and the hard work they do. As far as updates, that's all I really want to reiterate. And for that, I just want to say thank you and turn it back over to you, Mr. Eller.
Thank you, sir. You beat the National Telecommunicators Week, so I appreciate that, and we do appreciate what y'all do, Mr. Pierce. We'll transition now to Mr. Lambert, Johnny Lambert with our Public Utilities Department.
Thank you, John. So Davie County Public Utilities is still working under the Governor's Executive Order 124. That has required all utilities to suspend cutoffs and any late fees on accounts that are in delinquent. Again, we have staff here working with everyone that needs some kind of payment plan set up. So if they would just contact our office at 336-753-6090, our staff can assist them in setting up payments that they can get through as we move through this pandemic. Again, thank you to everyone that's doing their part in getting us through this, and we're here 24/7 as needed as well. So again, anything we can do to support our community, we're here. Thank you, Mr. Eller.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. You guys are critical and important to what we're all working toward here with sanitation. So we appreciate the work that you and your crews do. And I said this last week, last but not least, our superintendent, Jeff Wallace, I need to put Jeff first next time so he doesn't have to wait and listen to everybody else first, because he has some real important updates for you as well. So, Mr. Wallace, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. And look, I do not mind going last. I'm learning a lot and hearing from this strong team that you put together each week. So I absolutely do not mind going last. But thank you again. Thank you to everyone on the call and citizens and community that are listening. I want to say thank you. Update I did share with you, as has been mentioned, Rodney mentioned about operating under executive orders. We continue to operate with the governor's, one of the governor's executive orders, and we are still serving children food and meals. We're serving between 4,300 and 4,500 students meals per day, not students, but meals per day. And that is, of course, been funded with state and federal emergency funds. Also like to give say thank you specifically to Davie County High School Hunger Fighters and their team that is actively involved in reaching out to children as well and families, providing 400 families each week, and that's reaching nearly 700 children, and that somewhat complements what school nutrition does. Two different operations. One, the Davie Hunger Fighters is totally primarily volunteer based and locally supported with local funds, and has already been mentioned about some people trying to help out. We've had significant donations given across this county, but I want to mention that one of our active members, Lori Smith, and a Board of Education member was reaching out to a group, and a lady walked up to her and said, "Look, I want to help Davie Hunger Fighters. I grew up, raised my children as a single mom, and the school system did a great job for me." And she gave $10. She said, "That's all I can do, but I want that to help." And that $10 is worth $1 million coming from some others. So again, just part of the spirit of Davie County. The other primary piece that we're working on is remote learning. A remote learning platform was built within 2 weeks from the ground up. Compliments to our staff for doing that. I also want to reach out or shout out to a couple local providers, and that'd be Yadtel and Spectrum and AT&T and a couple others for providing access to connectivity to help our children, and a few staff that did not have internet in the home. So I want to say thank you to them. We just, as of yesterday, we did some collection of data. We've got approximately 88% of our 6,100 kids that are connected and engaged in remote learning. That still leaves 12% that we're working through, and we're reaching out to families and reaching out to children. So it is vital that we want parents to reach out and help us, and we want parents to also know that we are here to support them. We do not expect them to totally pick up the learning or the schooling of their children on their own. We know families have been flipped up on their head basically with this economy and with being sent home to work and some losing their job. The school wants to stand beside you just like everyone else on this call today. So we want to make sure that you know that. Please reach out to us, and we'll help you help meet the needs of your children. Also, just a special thank you to the leadership in this county, for everyone that's taken part in things that folks that are giving and helping. And Davie County Schools will continue to passionately serve your children and families. Thank you, Mr. Eller.
Mr. Wallace, thank you for all that you and your staff do. Those are some amazing numbers there. And I know definitely not something you probably ever thought you'd be doing or planned to do, but all of you are making a difference, and we appreciate that. As we come to a close today, again, there's a process for all of you to submit any questions, and we'll be looking for themes to be able to address. But you heard themes of this throughout today, and I can't help but close without saying thanks to all of our nonprofits for the work that you're doing, our churches in this county and faith-based partners and how they're reaching out to the community, our two foundations, the Davie Community Foundation and Mebane Foundation, in the relief fund that they've established. And just on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and Davie County Administration, all of our partners on the phone, this is a we conversation. None of this could happen without all of us collectively working together to support our community the best we can. So I'm blessed to know all of you. I'm blessed by you, and I just want to thank our Davie County government staff as well for all the hard work they're doing. It's a great place to be, to come together all the time, but particularly in time of need, how we rally together. So we thank you for joining us today, and we'll be back next week for episode 3, and hope you'll join us then. Thank you very much.